Hello students and welcome to the e-learning program initiated by Shri Gyan Manjari Vidyapith for the students of Standard 10, in which we are learning the subject of English. Students, from previous lecture we started with chapter number 11 of the main book, that is First Flight. Let us take a quick recap of what we have learned in the previous lecture. First Flight, chapter number 11, the proposal, that is the name of the chapter. This is lecture number 2 for the proposal, that is the name of the chapter, and that is actually a drama, a play, which is written by Russian author and a playwright, Anton Chekhov. This is a farce that he has written, and that pokes fun at the customs and traditions prevalent in that um, at that time period in Russia, right? So, in order to jab at the customs and traditions of that time, he creates a comedy actually, but that is satirical, or it's a farce. That is, it becomes a laughing stock for us, right? About the mentality of the people of that time, the mentality of the rich people of that time. In order to grab more property, more money, they used to arrange marriage in between these rich people, and the main motive of the purpose is that quite a big property will be in the name of the girl. So marriages were arranged in that way. So actually, it's a satire on the society, but at the same time, it's written in the style of a farce so that it creates laughter. In that, we have seen that uh, Lomo and Natalia, they are neighbors, and Anton Chekhov is the father of Natalia, and Lomo, the neighbor, who is around 35 years of age, he thinks it is the right time for him to get married, and he comes to Chubuko, Anton Chubuko, to ask for his daughter's hand, and uh, whole of the business of the proposal is nearly forgotten in the small petty issues on which they fight among themselves, right? It creates a nuisance, and in that nuisance, their actual identity is revealed. Yes, then menacing nature is revealed over here. Their greed is revealed over here. And we find that the main objective of the visit of Lomo is completely lost. He had come to ask Natalia's hand for marriage to Chubuko. In front of Chubuko, he had come with a request, but then they start fighting over small issues. So we had learned initially that Chubuko, that is the father of Natalia, and Lomo, both of them meet at Chubuko's house. Lomo comes to Chubuko's house and he starts fumbling, and he talks of lots of other things, and he's dressed quite neatly and quite in a formal way, three-piece suit, and as if he has come to greet Happy New Year to uh, Chubuko. And Chibuko is quite surprised when Lumo asks for his daughter's hand, and Lumo is quite happy. In fact, he was thinking, because now both are neighbors and all that property is also adjacent, that if his daughter gets married to Lumo, then just he is considering the prospects that all of the property of Lumo now will be going to the daughter also as well as per the uh, marriage. So he's quite happy. He goes inside. He doesn't say those words, right? And to Natalia, just sends Natalia outside so that Lomo can himself propose. And they start talking. So uh, they're still talking. That is what we learned in the previous lecture. So now we go. How do you do, Nod Natalia? You must excuse my apron and negligee because it's a loose dressing gown, right? She was doing some work, so had an apron and some house clothes so that it doesn't get. If it gets dirty, it's no point. We are shelling peas for drying. Now they have quite huge farms where they are growing peas, and now they're shelling it so that they can put it for drying. Matar jisko bolte hai, right? So that later on, when they harden, they can sell it in the market. So we can see that in spite of being rich, Natalia is quite a simple girl, looking after the household, even helps the family members and the family in the farm work also. Yeah, she's there supervising the labors also. So we can see she's a very good, very good girl who not only has lots of education, but at the same time is very careful about the family business also, about the family, the farm, and she herself sees after the work, etc. So here we find in Natalia a very good, kind-natured girl, as who is completely dedicated to the house and the family. Why haven't you been here for a long time? You haven't been here for like it's quite a time that you have been visiting over. So and sit them and both of them said, "Won't you have some lunch?" And it might be lunchtime. So oh no, thank you. I have some already. And he excuses himself. Natalia, then smoke. Here are the matches and the weather is splendid now, but yesterday it was so wet that the workmen didn't do anything at all whole day. And I remember they are shelling peas. So it's very good to keep the peas in the dry sun, right when the sun, and then the atmosphere is clear and the sun is up so that the peas can dry up soon. But because it was wet, that means it was raining. So the farmers didn't have work. Uh, the laborers didn't have any work because you can't keep the peas in the open. Yes, they'll get spoiled by the rain. So yesterday they didn't do any work. So today is a quite bright and sunny day. So I'm working with them. And please excuse me for my dressing because I was working in the farm. And she offers lunch, smoke, etc. to Lomo, but how much hay have you stacked? So they're what say what they're rich farmers and they're always talking about agriculture and they're interested in knowing who has done more better work, much better work, right? And what is the situation condition of the farm? Because now when winter comes, they need lots and lots of hay for their domesticated animals because winter snow falls heavily over there and you need lots of wood, lots of fodder for the complete winter for the animals, otherwise the animals will die. So how much fodder have you stacked? That is hay. Just think, I felt greedy and had a whole field cut. And now I'm not at all pleased about it because I'm afraid my hay may rot. Now I have all of the fields. As an example, grass also will do, right? You just cut them and put it out for drying. Yes, and they just had peas, etc. and their farm. So there's lots of hay, and I cut all the hay and put it out for drying. And just say today it's raining heavily, and all my hay is going to rot. Such a waste. I ought to have waited a bit. I shouldn't have cut the remaining twigs or stem. I should have waited. I knew rain would come now, and then it wouldn't be quite good enough to cut it early. Now I have cut it early and spread out the stem, the remaining stem of the harvest, right? And I have kept it out to dry so that I can make hay and make bundles and stash in my farmhouses so that that is ready for the domesticated animals. But I didn't wait and just see I have a very huge loss. Now the hay is dry and now it will take more days to dry up. So what's this? Why are you wearing evening dress? Well, I never. Are you going to a ball? I'm not going to wear such costly and good-looking dress in the afternoon. I have got lots of work in the farm. But just look at you. You are wearing a very good evening dress, and perhaps you might be going to a ball, a party. Though I must say you are quite looking better today. Tell me, why are you dressed like this? Lumov exiles and he again starts fumbling. Yes, he has come to propose, but to come to that matter, he needs lots of fumbling up and he needs to gather up all that courage so that he can speak up that. So he goes everywhere. Natalia Stepnova, the fact is, I made up my mind. So you please hear me out. Of course, you will be quite surprised and perhaps might be angry also. I don't know what your reactions are because when I propose, I don't know your reaction. So he comes all around, but he doesn't speak what he has come to do. And aside, again we come to that aside. It's awfully cold. I cannot control myself. Natalia, what's the matter? Well, yeah, I'm just waiting. You just speak. I shall try to be brief. You must know, honored Natalia, that I have long since my childhood, in fact, the privilege of knowing your family Yes, now he goes all round and round, but it doesn't come to the point. He says, we have been living here since ages, and I know your grandmother, you know my grandmother, so everybody knows everybody. My late aunt and her husband, from whom, as you know, I inherited my land. Yes, I didn't get it from my parents, I got it from my aunt and uncle, and that is aunt and her husband. After they died, whole of the family business became mine because I was the only heir over there. I inherited my land, always had the greatest respect for your family, father, late mother. The Lomos and the Chobokos have been living together very peacefully without fighting. I might almost say most affectionate. That means quite lovable. Regret for each other. And as you know, my land is near is a near neighbor of yours. Of course, when they're neighbors, their land also are going to be adjoining. That means near about each other. You will remember that my oxen meadows touch your beech woods. Yes? Now, uh, as he said, he gave the name of the lands. Yes, the land of uh, Lomo, that is oxen meadows, and beechwoods, that is the land of the Chubukos. When he said that, all of a sudden Natalia's ears are up. She interrupted, excuse me, my interrupting you. You say my oxen meadows, but they are yours? Yes, they are ours. So Lomo says, yes, they are mine. What are you talking about? Oxen meadows are ours, not now in Russia. In Russia, vast expanse of land and very few people living over there in the earlier age. Quite very few people living. So you have vast expanse of land, right? And sometimes it becomes quite confusing which land belongs to whom. Sometimes the paperwork is not done, and so Natalia thinks that the oxen meadows they belong to them, whereas Lumo says the oxen meadow belongs to us. Now, everything is forgotten about what Lomo came for, right? A wrong word over there. He should have directly come to the point. Now, just look at this matter. When Lomo marries Natalia, whether oxen meadow belongs to the Lomos or the Chubukos is no more a question, because whatever is Lomos becomes Natalia's, and whatever is Natalia's is going to become of Lomos, right? So the property dispute should not have come up. Rather than that, a small slip of tongue, Natalia catches that, and now they started fighting for the property. One is saying the oxen meadows are us, and the other one is saying oxen meadows are there. Now, we know Lomo, he is highly excited person, and he is already excited, and it's very difficult for him to control the situation because he has come to ask for the hand of Natalia. On the other side, this fighting is going to make him more nervous and is going to make him forget more and more about for what he came for, and we will see what happens ahead in the drama. No, mine honored Natalia Stepanova. Natalia, well, I never knew that before. How do you make that out? Right from the start, Natalia says that oxen meadows were there. Now, how do you say that they belong to you? Do you have any papers? Do you have any inheritance paper which says that oxen meadows are yours? Or do you have any legal paperwork which tells that oxen meadows are yours? How? I am speaking of those oxen meadows which are wedged in between the beechwood and the burnt marsh. Yes, exactly, they are ours. Yes, so Natalia says, हाँ, ऑक्शन मीडोज जहां है उधर ही होना चाहिए, लेकिन वो आपके लिए हमारे हैं. No, you are mistaken, and they're mine. Just think, Ivan Vasilovich, how long have they been yours? How long? Since time immortal. How long? As long as I can remember. That means since my childhood, since I inherited my property from my aunt and uncle. Since that time onwards, auction meadows are ours. Really, you won't get me to believe that. Yes, I'm not going to believe that because that property is mine. But you can see from documents on that step, okay, oh, so now you're talking about documents. You have documents to prove that auction meadows are yours. So we see Natalia is ready to pick up a fight for her property, right? So she is not only a good girl, right? That we just understood. She is highly intellectual, right, and quite participating in all the family business work, etc., agriculture everywhere. She's taking good care of the household, right? Apart from that, she knows to fight for her property. So Auction meadows, yes, true. It's true. Once they were subject of dispute. At one point in time, I think that particular property was a subject of dispute because it was not clear whether it is yours or ours. How? But now everybody knows that they are mine. There is nothing to argue about. Now, in these lands, right, nothing might be growing. It's not completely a futile land. That means it can grow nothing. But then, land is land, right? The more land you have, the more bigger person you are, the more stronger, more valuable person you are. So, even if that is a rocky land, there's just a hill producing nothing, but then still it has to be in your name. So once upon a time it was in dispute, but now everybody knows auction meadows are mine. There's nothing to argue about. You see, now he tries to explain the condition in which the auction meadows belong to them. Now, you see, my aunt's grandmother gave the free use of these meadows in perpetuity, that is permanency, to the peasants of your father's grandfather. Now, just see this. My aunt's grandmother, now aunt is already dead. My aunt's grandmother gave the free use. That means the land under dispute, that is the auction meadows, my aunt's grandmother had given to peasants of your father's grandfather. Peasants, the labor people working in the field. Now they did not have anything to survive on, right? So it was given to your father's grandfather's peasants, laborers for free use. They can make tents over there, they can make small house, they can cut wood over there, they can cut the grass, feed their horses, cows, cattle, whatever they keep, right? So it was given to them for free use. Who? Your father's grandfather and grandfather's laborers. My aunt's grandmother had given to them. Now, later on, what happened? In return for which they were to make bricks for her, it was not given for free. Yes, they were allowed to use that land for free, but in return of that, they were supposed to make bricks for my aunt's grandmother. Now, the peasants belonging to your father's grandfather had the free use of meadows for 40 years and had got into the habit of regarding them as their own. Now, for 40 years, your father's grandfather's laborers, they had made use of that land and they started thinking that they were masters of that land belonged to them, and started behaving in that way. So they had to be taught, they had to be told the real thing. And when it happened, Natalia, no, it's not like that. Now, Natalia is not ready to believe because what Lomo is talking about, his aunt's grandmother, and on opposite side, father's grandfather, right? And their labors. So it's not like that. Both grandfather and great grandmother reckoned that their land extended to burnt marsh, which means that oxen meadows were vast. Now, it was a land that was wedged between the two, but that means it extended till the end of the meadows, right? That means those meadows are both my father's grandfather and grandmother told me all the time that our land extend to those meadows and these meadows are ours, which means that auction meadows were ours. I don't see why there is what is that to argue about. It is simply silly, right, to talk like that land belongs to us. The land belongs to us and there is no doubt. I'll show you the document. Now he came to ask for Natalia's hand in marriage, and now he is trying to show them the documents for the land. No, you're simply joking or making fun of me. What a surprise. You should be talking all these things to my father. Why are you talking this to me? Have you come to talk to me about the land that is still disputed? That land is ours, and you come to me and tell me that that land is yours, and you are trying to show me the documents, and you want to take away that land. What a surprise. We had the land for nearly 300 years, as I told you. Expanse and expanse of land, right, under some family, and then it passes on. So, because the only time a small little bit of summer they have for growing something, otherwise it's harsh cold weather and lots of snow. So, for 300 years, this land has been passed on to us from generation to generation, and then we have suddenly told it is now you come and tell me this land is not yours, they're mine, right? So it doesn't happen like that. For 300 years, that land has been us, and it will be us. So I'm telling you clear, Ivan Vasilovich, I can hardly be only my own ears that my neighbor comes to me and tells me that that land is his. These meadows aren't worth much to me. Yes, as I told you, just a wasteland. Yes, might be even marshy land where there is soil and water so much mixed up that nothing grows over there, and the whole of that marsh is going to become solid in winter. It's of no use, right? So it is hardly worthless. But then you say that land is yours, that's not going to happen. These meadows are not worth much to me. They only come to 5 deciatels, that is measure of land. It is a very small measure of land. Yes, now and जैसे हमारे इंडिया में होता है, कहीं गुंठा बोलते हैं, कहीं एकड़ बोलते हैं, yes, कहीं बीघा बोलते हैं. Same way, they come to 5. The earlier Russian measurement of land, that is desiatins. Now, they are perhaps worth just the whole of that land is worth only 300 rubles because it's a wasteland. Nothing grows over there. It's of no use. But I can stand unfairness. Even if that land was just 1 ruble. Ruble is the currency of Russia, right? So even if that was just 1 ruble, then also what you are saying is totally unfair, right? Say what you will, I can't stand unfairness, right? Whether that land is worth something, whether that land is worthless, whether that land is small, big, yes, whether it is 300 rubles or 3 rubles, but I'm not going to accept any unfairness. That land is ours and it's not yours. Lomo says, hear me out, I implore you, I insist you. Implore, insist. The peasants of, again he starts that same dialogue, right? Again he starts that same story. Your friend, your father's grandfather, the laborers have already had the honor of explaining to you. Use the big bricks for my aunt's grandmother. Now my aunt's he's all confusing. He's already excited. Yes, it's his anxiety that is working over here. He gets nervous too easy, and in that he keeps on fumbling and he keeps on repeating his story and getting confused in his own story, right? So we already know that he is again trying to confuse it more and more. Natalia is a straight simple girl. She doesn't want to listen to stories. I can't make head or tail of what you are saying. Yes, your aunt, her grandmother, on the other side, my father's grandfather, their labors, and they were to prepare bricks for your grandmother. Now, that's a very confusing story about this aunts and grandfather. They are all dead, right? The meadows are ours. That's it. Lomo says, mine. Natalia asks. Now you can go on proving it for 2 days on end or 2 weeks on end. You can keep on going and put on 15 dress jackets. Yes, you come here so much in a sophisticated way, well dressed. Yes, and as if you're going to a ball or a party, and then you tell me this rubbish. Yeah, I'm not going to get impressed with all this, but I tell you, they are ours, and ours, and on the other side, he's saying it's mine, mine, mine. I don't want anything of yours. And this is a very important sentence. I don't want anything of yours, and I don't want to give anything of mine. A very good sentence told by Natalia, right? I'm a very content. We already know Natalia is a very, very good girl, and she's quite respectful in her manners, yes, and quite good at household, everything. But then respect should not be touched, right? So I'm not a greedy person. You came over here. I never came to your house telling you that this is mine or that. You came to my house. So one thing is very, very clear. I don't take anything which belongs to somebody, and somebody can never take something which belongs to me. Yes, so I don't take and want anything of yours. At the same time, I don't want to give anything of mine. So that's it. Please stop the issue over here. You can get lost from the house. Lomo says, Natalia Stepanova, I don't want the meadows, but I am acting on principle. He doesn't want the window. Now we understand that is a very small piece of land which is wedged between, which cornered between two great pieces of land, right? So, and because maybe it is quite downhill and water gets accumulated over there, might be a marshy area, rocky area, right? And doesn't not fertile. It is so. Uh, I'm not wanting meadows, but I'm acting on principle that if it is mine as per documents, then they are mine. If you like, I'll make that a present to you. Yes, that's a worthless piece of land. Yes, we are not arguing, we are not fighting over it. You just tell me that you want it. I'll just simply give it to you. We are good neighbors. Natalia says, I can make you a present of them myself because they are mine. We see yet another very good intellectuality from Natalia. You can give somebody a present if that thing is yours. Yes, how can you give somebody else's thing as a present to somebody else, right? So, how are you giving me a present of my own thing? It is mine. So, if I want, I can present it to you. You can't give it to me because they are mine. Your behavior, Ivan Vasilovich, is strange to say it the least. Up to this, we have always thought of you as a good neighbor. Now, up till now, we never fought. Yes, we have been living on our own land, in our own houses as neighbors, right? We never had any fight. We never had even an argument. Yes, and we have lived quite happily. So I always treated you as a very good neighbor, a friend. Last year we lent you our threshing machine, although on that account we had to put off our own threshing till November. Now see, we are neighbors, and what are neighbors for? For helping out each other. Yes, कभी bread खत्म हो गया, कभी butter खत्म हो गया, थोड़ा सा इधर से ले लिया चीनी, right? So that way it's all it happens in households, right? So here we are talking about good neighbors. Then last time the thrashing machine, you wanted it, so we gave it to you. And because we gave our only thrashing machine to you, we had to wait till you give it back, and then we started our thrashing way back in November, right? But you behave as if we were gypsies, right? We are not gypsies. Gypsies are wandering lot. Yes, banjare जिसको बोलते हैं, right? So they don't have a permanent house. They just keep on roaming, and wherever they go, they ask for some help, and they return it, right? So we are not gypsies that you are acting like that. Giving me my own land, very good. Yes, that is how you return favor. Last year you needed a treasure, we gave you. Now you are coming over here and gifting me my own land. That's not all about neighborly. In my opinion, it's even impudent. Yes, it's impudent out of thought. And if you want to know, that's not right. Lumo, then you can make out that I am a land grabber. So here that thing turns even worse. Yes, yes, जो जमीन के भूखे होते हैं, जिस किसी की भी जमीन हाथ में आई खा लेता है, that's called a land grabber. So now Natalia, you are talking to me as if I'm a land grabber. I'm thirsty of land and I need more and more land. There, madam, never in my life have I grabbed anybody else's land, and I shan't allow anybody to accuse me of having done so. All my life I have remained very clear. I have never taken anybody's thing. I have never taken anybody's land. And in future also I'm not going to do that. And even today I am not. So you are insulting me, telling me that I am a land grabber. Quickly steps to the car cave and drinks more water. Yes, oxen meadows are mine. Again, because now he is excited and he feels thirsty, and so he goes to the near water and has it, and says, "Oxen meadows are mine." Yeah, Natalia says it's not true. They are mine, and the fight goes on. It's not true. I'll prove, and I'll send my mowers to the meadows uh, this very day. I'm going. Who are mowers? जो grass हमारा जो lawn होता है, right? You mow the grass. That means you cut the grass to level it, right? To make a soft bed of the grass. Now here it's a wasteland, but grass might be growing, so that grass belongs to us because the land belongs to us. Right today, I'm going to send my mowers over there, and they are going to mow. They are going to cut grass and make that land clear because I have the right to take that grass, right? Because it's my land. I didn't touch up till now. My mowers or my laborers did not touch uh, because it's mine whenever I. But today you come and tell me that land is yours, because before you can mow the land, I am going to send my mowers today itself, and I am going to cut the grass. What? My mowers will be there this very day. It's given. I'll give them. I'll give it to them in the neck. You want more? I'll give that mower on the neck. That means I'm going to beat up your laborers if they come over there. You dare to touch my labors. Lomo clutches at his heart. Now we know he is already having some anxiety type of behavior, right? So now that is too much. This anxiety is too much, and his heart starts hurting him and clutches his heart. Oxen meadows are mine. You understand? Mine. Please don't shout. This is my house. Yeah, we have those mannerism, right? You don't go to somebody's house and shout at them, right? This is my house. You don't shout. You can shout yourself hoarse in your own house. Hoarse as up till your throat can bear that much hoarse type of sound you can take out, but that happens in your house, not in my house. I am the master of my house, and then you don't shout at me. But here I must ask you to restrain yourself. Restrain, to control yourself. You are in my house, please behave. Lomo, if it wasn't, madam, for this awful, excruciating palpitation, that is the pain, unbearable pain, that in my heart, if my whole inside wasn't upset, I'd talk to you in a different way. Oxen Meadow is mine. Ours, mine, ours. Yes, now they were still fighting. And Lomo says, because of this palpitation, because of this incrucible pain that I am having, I can't bear this pain. Yes, my heart is wrenching like anything, and it's hurting me like anything. If it wasn't this, then I would have talked to you in a different way. Yes, and I'm sure Auction Meadows, they are mine. Yeah, and they're fighting over there. Then Chubuko, the father of Natalia, enters. What's the matter? What are you shouting for? No, father went inside. He didn't come back. Right now, it is his time for entry. Now, why had he given time? So that the two young people can talk privately, and the one has complete privacy, because Lomo had come for his daughter's hand to propose for marriage. So he should, as per manners, he should leave the young couple alone, so that the boy and girl can talk, and he doesn't force his decision. We see a very good father in him. He doesn't force his decision on Natalia. Yes, he just goes inside and sends Natalia outside, and they will be do the talking, and at last the boy is going to propose, and if the proposal is accepted by the girl, then that's going to be a very happy marriage. So he had gone into the house and stayed inside there. But when the shouting was too loud, he had come outside, and that is on the stage in that room, and he is asking, "What are you shouting at?" "Papa, please tell this gentleman who owns Oxen Meadows, we or him." Right? So now Natalia knows, because her father had always told, then grandfather, grandmother, everybody told Oxen Meadows are there, right? So she knows right from childhood that the land belongs to them. So, father, please tell this gentleman the Oxen Meadows belongs to whom? Chibuko. Darling, the meadows are ours, because the meadows are ours. But please, Stepanovich, how can they be yours? Do be a responsible man. Yes, my aunts, again he start that same thing. Yes, my aunt's grandmother, yes, gave it on a free lease to the laborers of your father's grandfather, for, and in turn they had to make bricks. So he again keeps on saying that same thing. Chubuko, excuse me, my precious. So we see Chubuko is still in control of his voice, in control of his cool and calm, which he maintains. Please be, and he addresses Lomo in quite a beautiful, cultured manner, right? My precious, you forget just that the peasants didn't pay your grandmother and all that, because the meadows were in dispute and so on, and now everybody knows that they are us. It means that you haven't seen the plan, right? Your that those laborers didn't pay your aunt's grandmother or didn't make bricks for them or whatever. Okay, it was in dispute. But just see the new plan. Those meadows belong to us. I'll prove you that they are mine, said Lomo. You won't prove it, my darling, because it's already proven. I shall. Dear one, why yell like that? You won't prove anything just by yelling. Yes, you prove it with the help of documents. You prove it by going to the court, finalizing the matter over there. I don't want anything of yours. Again, the father also says the same thing. And don't intend to give up what I have. Yes, I don't want anything of yours. I didn't come to your place. You came to my place. Yes, I don't want anything of yours. But at the same time, I'm not intending or I'm not having any intention of giving something that belongs to me. Why should I? And you know, my beloved, that if you propose to go on arguing like that, I would much sooner give up the meadows to the peasants than to you. Those meadows belong to me, to my family. And I can donate them to whomsoever I want, and for that purpose, the peasants that are working in my farm, I can donate them, I can write that meadows in their name with proper legal documentation, right? Because it belongs to me. Now, what belongs to me, you cannot take it, or you cannot give it back to me. I don't understand how you have the right to give away somebody else's property, says Lomo. Lomo says you don't have the right to give somebody else's property to somebody. Shubhko says you may take it that I know whether I have the right or not, because now I am not that young girl. Yes, I am the father of the girl, and I have been holding this property for quite a long time, and I know what belongs to whom and since when. So you don't teach me all those things, because young man, I am not used to being spoken in that tone or voice. Now you should remember over here that these Russian peasants farmers, they are very very rich farmers owing quite huge land, and when the seasons are good, they make quite a lot of money during that time. So they're quite rich, and they are quite self-righteous, and they don't get insulted like that. They are not to be talked in that way, right? So it's the first time that my neighbor comes to me and talks to me in this manner. I'm not used to doing these things, right? I, young man, am twice your age, and if you see in that way, right, 35, so I am at least 70, at least twice your age, and you should mind your language and manners when you are talking to an elderly person, and so am. Is and ask you to speak to me without agitating yourself, without shouting at me, without yelling at me, without abusing me, accusing me. So you better mind your manners. No, no. You just think I am a fool and want to have me on. Yes, what you two are thinking is I am a fool and you want to make fun of me. You can call my land yours, because that happens if I am a fool. If I am a fool, then you will be calling my land yours. And then you want me to talk to you calmly and politely. You first thing is take away my land, and then you want to talk to you calmly and coolly. That's not going to happen. Good neighbors don't behave in this way. Stepan Stepanovich. Chubukov says, what's that? What did you say? Papa sent the movers out to meadows at once. Yes? So, Natalia is in her own world. She says, this land is ours, and send the mowers to mow the grass over there or mow the hay over there. And Chubuko and Lomo says something which hurts Chubuko. Now, what is that? What did you say, sir? Oxen meadows are ours, and I shan't give them up, shan't give them up, shan't give them up. Lomo says, we'll see. I'll have the matter taken to the court. Right? No. What did you say, sir? Natalia says they are ours, and they are ours. And we are not going to. Lemo says, well, okay, we'll see. I have the matter taken to the court, and I'll show you. Now Chubuko, no, he has to talk to the man of the house, that is Chubuko. So Lomo says, I'm going to take the matter to the court. To the court, you can take it to the court and all that. You can, I know, you. Yes, you can take it over there. You are just the lookout for a chance to go to the court and all that. You are a pettifogger. What's a pettifogger? A person, especially a lawyer or a politician, who uses unscrupulous or unethical methods to make things right for him, right? Oh, किसी की जमीन अपने नाम पे करा लेना, किसी का मकान अपने नाम. So that is what the ruffians do. Sometimes the politicians also get into these things. So you are that type of person. Yes, you can go to the court and you can do whatever you want. All your people were like that, all of them. Now Chubuko hints not only to Lomo but his complete entire family. Never mind about my people. The Lomos have all been honorable. Now Lomo is trying to protect his family's name, and not one has been tried for embezzlement, that is misuse, like your grandfather. Now, they started with themselves, and now they are going to their ancestors, right? People who are dead, how they were. Now they are accusing not only to each other, now they are accusing how their parents or maybe grandparents were. And your grandparents, Lomo says that mine are very straightforward, but just look at your ancestry. They are in the they were tried for embezzlement. That means they were tried in the court for misuse of power and authority. Yes, your grandfather. Your Lomo, you Lomo had lunacy in your family, all of you. Yes, lunacy, madness. Yes, uh, insanity. That comes hereditary sometimes. All right, so lunacy is in your heredity, right? You get that from generation to generation. One of the ancestors of Lomo might have been a mad person, a lunatic, and that seeds, the genes, have passed on. Yes, so everybody in this land knows that you Lomos are famous for having lunacy in your generation to generation, and right now in front of me you are also behaving the same manner in a lunatic way, so it's nothing new. Yes, you people are like that. You have lunacy in your lineage. Natalia says, all. Now she is also trying to be with her father. Chubuko says, your grandmother, your grandfather. Now Chubuko accuses Lomo, right, and his ancestry. Your grandfather was a drunkard, a person who drinks too much, and your younger aunt, Nastasia Mihailovna, ran away with an architect. Yes, you do not have a good family lineage. Your grandfather, for instance, he was a drunkard. Everybody knows that. And one of your younger aunt, not the aunt who gave this property inherited to you, right? But another of your young aunt, name is Nastasia Mihailova Lovna. Yes, she ran away. She absconded with an architect. Everybody knows that, and so on. So yours is not a good family. And your mother was humpbacked. Lomo says, now it's Lomo's turn to abuse the family of Chubuko. Says your mother was a humpback. Humpback, person who has a hump on the back and has to lean forward because of that hump. That hump at the back doesn't allow you to stand straight, and it's quite a big hump. Yes, so your mother was a humpback, clutches at his heart. Now he's getting more than excited, which hurts his heart. Something pulling in my inside, my head, help, water. Chubuko. And Chubuko is not listening to Lomo. He's just keep on accusing him and the family. Your father was a guzzling, rapid drinker, gambler. He was two things. One, he was a guzzler. That means he drank uh, wine or liquor quite rapidly. So your grandfather was a drunkard, same way your father was also a drunkard. And on top of that, your grandfather was just a drunkard, but your father was a drunkard also, and he was a gambler also, who gambles for money. Natalia says, and there haven't been many backbiters to equal your aunt. Backbiters to say on somebody's back, to do something on somebody's back, right? So your aunt was a very famous backbiter, so whole of your family is like that. Chubuko, now he is gone crazy. Yes, things are pulling inside him. Yes, and my left foot has gone to sleep. You are an intriguer, but he doesn't give up uh, arguing, and he doesn't give up accusing. one who devises plot. Intriguer is a person. Yes, you are always devising plots to take away somebody's land, to take away somebody's property, money. Oh my heart, it's an open secret that before the last election, you're Brie. I can see stars. Where's my hat? Yes, he's telling the previous elections what you did. Everybody knows that. But at the same time, right, his health is deteriorating and he's not keeping well. Yes, his clutching his heart and his left side has gone numb and he wants to go out. Where is my hat? Natalia says it's low, it's dishonest, it's mean to talk like this and to come to our house and say all those things. Chubuko says, and you are just malicious, hateful, you're quite crazy, right? And you're quite dirty also in thinking. Yes, double-faced interviewer. Now you're just calling me an interviewer. You are a double-faced interviewer. That means you work on both the sides and you just take your profits. Yes, that is what you are. So with this, we complete our today's lecture. We'll continue next time. Thank you, students.